Good day mga ka-Sir AJ dyan. Welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we will be talking about nonlinear programming, but a focused example on investment portfolio. So, normally, investors, if you are investing in maybe stocks or bonds, you are the most concerned with two factors. So dalawa yung considerations natin. Number one is the return on investment. We want na meron tayong at least parang desired minimum na return on our investment. And the second thing is the risk. We want to minimize the risk. Siyempre, depende naman yan kung risk averse ka or risk taker ka. Pero normally, we want to minimize the risk depending on our appetite. So if you have a portfolio of investment, normally your objective is to minimize some measure of portfolio risk while achieving a minimum return on the total portfolio investment. So what are the measures of risk now? There are two measures of risk that we will be talking about in this video. First is the variance. Ang variance is the variability in the value of the investment. Ibig sabihin, ito yung measure kung gaano ka-erratic or gaano nagbabago yung value ng investment. So, kapag pabago-bago yung value ng investment, then yung variance niya will also be higher. And that means the risk is also higher. And the second measure of risk is the covariance. Covariance naman is a measure of correlation among individual investments within a portfolio. So for example, you have a portfolio of 4 investment types. Yung covariance is yung correlation ng mga investments na nasa portfolio. So 'di ba sabi natin, there is this basic concept in finance saying na you should not put all your eggs in one basket. Meaning, you have to diversify your portfolio or you have to diversify your investment. So to try to achieve diversification, kailangan mababa yung covariance. Kasi pag mataas yung covariance, that means hindi diversified ang iyong portfolio. So what is the model? In the mathematical model developed, ito yung ating magiging model. First is we minimize the risk as x sub 1 squared, s sub 1 squared plus x sub 2 squared, s sub 2 squared up to the number of investments na meron ka. Plus summation of the per pair ng investment, multiply the values times the R or the covariance rate times the standard deviation ng dalawa. So S is the variance of annual return of the portfolio. X sub I and X sub J are the proportion of money invested in investments. S sub I squared is the variance. So pag square root mo yung variance, ang lalabas yung standard deviation. Yung R is the correlation. So if you can't understand this mathematical equation, that's okay kasi i-explain naman natin sa solver kung paano natin siya i-input sa Excel. So for example, meron tayong 4 na stocks. So we have stocks A, B, C, and D. Tapos yung annual return ng stock A is 0.08, for stock B 0.09, for stock C 0.16, and for stock D 0.12. Tapos yung variance ng A 0.009, ng B 0.015, ng C 0.040, ng D 0.023. Yung covariances naman is pag yung correlation between stock A and stock B, ang correlation nila ay 0.4. Stock A and stock C, that's 0.3. Stock A and stock B, that's 0.6. Stock B and stock C, that's 0.2. Stock B and stock D, that's 0.7. Stock C and stock D, that's 0.4. So, ito yung mga i-input natin sa Excel natin. So ngayon, we will try to input this sa solver. Ang objective natin dito is to minimize the risk, at the same time, achieve a desired minimum annual return. For example, yung gustong nating minimum return is 0.11. So to do that, you should go to Excel. Okay. So when you go to Excel, we should type, for example, investment portfolio. So on row 4, we will type the stock. So for example, meron tayong 4 na stocks, di ba? Stock A, stock B, stock C, and stock D. So sa column B, isulat natin yung average return. Okay? So ang average return natin for stock A, that's 0.08. For stock B, that's 0.09. For stock C, that's 0.16. And for stock D, that's 0.12. Sa column C, isusulat natin yung variance na given per stock. Okay, so for stock A, the estimated variance is 0.009. For stock B, that's 0.015. For stock C, that's 0.04. And for stock D, 0.020. So for example, sulat natin dito yung desired return natin should be 11% or 0.11. So i-highlight lang natin to, lagyan na natin ng fill, something like siguro color orange, no? To tell us na ito yung gusto nating minimum return. And then isusulat natin yung kung ilang proportion ng pera mo ang i-invest mo for each stock. So when you say portfolio, no, so we will talk about ilang percentage ng yung buong portfolio ang i-invest mo sa A, sa B, sa C, at sa D. Therefore, etong column na to, yung proportion, ito yung ating magiging decision variable. So we highlight it in yellow and then put a border. So dyan isusulat ni solver kung ilan yung i-invest natin sa bawat stock. Okay? Take note that yung total ng proportion should be equal to 100%. So we highlight this in orange din. Okay, and then sa row 11, we will encode yung correlations. So we will put here stock A, B, C, and D. Sa columns, stocks A, B, C, and D also. So, syempre, dito, A and A, so isa lang yun. So, yung correlation 1. No? Ang importante yung pairing. Yung pairing ng A at B, ang correlation niya ay 0.4, A at C 0.3, A at B 0.6, B at A of course 0.4 ulit, B at B syempre 1, B at C 0.2, B at D 0.7, C at A 0.3, C at B 0.2, C at C 1, C at D 0.4, D at A 0.6, D at B 0.7, D at C 0.4, at D at D 1. So if you will observe, mirror lang to siya, no? Kasi there are total of 12 pairs possible. Pero that's 6 pairs lang talaga na dadalawang beses lang na mangyayari. So a total of 12 pairs. Okay? So isusulat din natin dito yung total portfolio return. So ano ba tong total portfolio return? This is the return for each stock multiplied by the proportion. So that's just the sum product of the proportion and the return. Okay, we will also put the total portfolio invested. So, i-check lang natin kung talaga bang 100% ang total. So, ang formula dito is just the sum of the proportions. D5 to D8. Yung last na i-encode natin at yung medyo mahirap gawin is yung ating objective function, which is the total variance. Okay? So, i-apply na natin yung mathematical model. So, this is how you input the formula. So, you should really be careful in inputting the formula here because medyo complicated siya, no? So, first is yung about sa individual variance muna. So, sa individual variance, ang computation is yung proportion squared multiplied by the variance. So, ganyan siya. D5 squared times C5 or yung proportion squared times yung variance niya. So, ipag-a-add lang natin, gagawin natin for all stocks. So, if this is stocks for stock A, so we will do the same thing for stock B, C, and D. So, for stock B, that's D6 squared times C6 plus for stock C, that's D7 squared times C7 plus for stock D, that's D8 squared times C8. Okay. So we are done inputting the summation of all the variances. Now we will be inputting the covariance. So summation lang din siya. Pero since mirror, so let's add plus. Imumultiply lang natin ng 2 para hindi na natin i-input lahat. Yung i-input lang natin is yung 6 out of the 12. Imumultiply lang natin yun ng 2. So 2 times, ayan, dito na magsisimula yung formula. So the formula is, for each pair, ang imumultiply mo is yung proportion. So, kunwari, start natin yung pair na A at B. So, yung proportion nilang dalawa, so that's D5 times D6. A at B yung pairing, no? Times yung correlation nila, which is yung 0.4, so C13, times yung standard deviation nilang dalawa. So for this case, wala kasing given na standard deviation, so we will compute for it using square root. So, isa-square root lang natin yung estimated variance. So, square root, that's SQRT, square root of variance ng A times square root ng variance ng B. Yan. So that's just for the pairing of A and B. So you will do the same thing for all the other 5 pairings. So the next one is yung pairing ng A at C naman. So plus yung pairing naman ng A at C. So that's D5, yung proportion, times D7, yung proportion ng C, times yung correlation nilang dalawa, which is 0.3, yung D13, times yung standard deviation nilang dalawa. So square root ng variance ni A times square root ng variance ni C. Okay? And then, next pairing naman, A at D. So for A at D, so plus, una yung proportion again. So proportion ng A, D5, times proportion ng D, D8, times yung correlation nilang dalawa, times yung standard deviation nilang dalawa. So that's square root ng variance ni A times square root ng variance ni D. Okay, next pairing, B at C. So for B at C, yung proportion muna nila, so that's D6 times proportion ni C, D7, times yung correlation nilang dalawa, which is 0.2, D14, times standard deviation ni B, so that's square root C6, times standard deviation ni D, square root C7. Okay. Next pairing, B and D, boy and dog. So plus, portfolio ni B, proportion ni B, D6, times proportion ni D, D8, times yung correlation nilang dalawa, which is 0.7, yung nasa E14, times yung standard deviation ni B, which is C6, times yung standard deviation ni D, or C8. Okay. And our last pairing ay C at saka D. So, yung proportion ni C, D7, times yung proportion ni D, D8, times yung correlation nila, yung 0.4, E15, times the standard deviation ni C, so that's C7, times yung standard deviation ni D, that's C8. Yan. And then close parenthesis, dahil done na, click enter. So ganyan kahaba yung formula. If you just do it religiously, pwede na siyang maging template for future use. Hindi mo na siya uulitin. So I hope na you were able to follow the whole formula. So if you click enter, okay, we accept this correction. Yan. Siguro nakulangan lang tayo ng parenthesis. So i-double check natin. Okay. Yan. So, I think okay na tayo. So, this is our objective function. So, i-highlight natin siya ng blue para lang alam natin na yan yung objective function. And your Excel file is ready to be solved by solver. So, if you click data and then click solver, your objective function is yung G7. Take note, you choose minimize because you want to minimize risk. By changing variable cells, yung proportion, yung naka-yellow, that's D5 to D8. Okay? And then the constraints, first is yung total portfolio return or G5 should be greater than or equal to 11%, yung gusto mong return. Dapat mas malaki doon or equal to 11. Yun yung gusto mo. And then your another constraint is yung total portfolio invested or yung G6 should be equal to 1 para walang hindi na. Okay, so click OK. So this is how your solver dialog box should look like. If you're done with that, don't forget GRG non-linear yung pipiliin nyo and then click solve. So just wait for a few minutes before niya ilalabas yung answer. So let's just round this off. Siguro 3 decimal places. So, ayan. So if you take a look at our answer, 36% should be invested in stock A, 27.2 should be invested in stock B, 31.5% should be invested in stock C, and 5.3% only sa stock D. Because if we do that, ang magiging portfolio return is 11%, yung gusto mong return. And then yung variance mo or yung risk mo is kept at a minimum of 0.0104 or 1.04%. So if you are a risk-averse investor, then okay ka dito kasi yung risk mo sobrang minimize. So yon. So that's how you solve an investment portfolio using Excel Solver. So thank you very much. Yun lamang for this video. If you have any questions, don't forget to comment or message in my social media accounts. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to like this video. That would be all for today. Thank you.